Okay, so in this video I'm going to show you how you can export out the animation on your tracking. Okay, once you solve your tracking from your manual match moving, so how are we going to render out this movie here? Right, so the default camera opacity settings. So once you finish your motion tracking, you need to go to the layout. So if you cannot find the layout here, you can just click on plus general and then find the layout tab. So if you go over to layout, you notice that the background of my backdrop, right, is very bright. So you have to select the camera. To select the camera, you can click on selecting the camera on the outliner here. And if you scroll down, there is the alpha. By default, the alpha is set to 0.5. That's why you can see it's semi-transparent. You can jack up the alpha to 1. All right, and you can see that the colors of my models are very very solid color. I mean, it seems to be affected by the brightness. So to change to this kind of view, you press Z, and then change the material preview. The default is the solid view, which is what it's going to look like that. Alright, so if you want it to look a little bit nicer, you can press Z and then change it to materials preview. Now, of course, if you know a bit more about Blender, you can also assign different materials. Right now my monkey head is selected. I can assign it with a new base color. Alright, so just to give it some color as well. And then same thing for this object here. This cube is our default cube, which already come with its own material. So if it doesn't have a material, you can click. If it doesn't have a material, you can click on the plus sign here. And then you can change the color to something else, just to make it a little bit nicer. Okay, GX just to move it to the side, GY, and then GY again, just move it right here. Alright, so now we are ready to render out as a movie. So how do you render this into a movie? So well, you have to go over to the output tab here. And then you have to specify where you want to save the file and the name of your file. So I'm going to call this render track. Okay, and then file format, the default is PNG. So you want to change it from PNG to FFmpeg. Okay, FFmpeg video. And then if you scroll down the container, you can change it to MPEG-4 container. And then the video codec, you're going to leave it as default H.264, and then essentially that's it. So how do you render this out? Okay, I do not want to see this cursor here, so I'm going to just select the cursor and then just click the cursor here, and then I'm just going to press Alt A, just make sure nothing is selected. So to render this, now also if you do not want to see the grid, you can also turn it off. Let's see, where is the grid? You can click on here to uncheck the floor and then the grid pattern here. So the drop down here will hide all the grid patterns and everything. And I believe you can also hide the centers as well, the origins. Alright, so we can see a red dot, orange dot on the monkey, so I don't want to see that, so I can click on origins to hide that. So now everything looks nice. Okay, there are no shadows and everything because this is just a very basic composite. Now I don't want to see the lights as well, so uncheck extras. And now we don't have to see anything. You can scrub back and forth just to preview. And now once everything is clear, you can render. Now to render, you have to click on the view button here and then click on viewport render animation. So click on this button, viewport render animation, and just hit render. So Blender is just going to go through frame by frame and then using its very fast Evee rendering engine and just to render everything out. So what you're going to see is a very quick composite of these 3D objects onto the scene here. The only thing that gives it away is the lighting, and also there are no shadows on these objects. For that you have to do a proper rendering using a proper renderer like either Cycles, or you can bring all of this camera tracking information into Maya or even Fusion, and then you can probably do your tracking or your raw shadows and stuff there. Okay, so we still have a few more frames and we are done. Okay, so you can close this window, and if you go over to the desktop, you should be able to see the movie that is being rendered out with the name that you have specified. Okay, so that is how you render out the movie. Okay,